If we walk into the light, get away from all the darkness that's been clouding your life. If we call His name, if we call His name, He will hear us. There's been some of your own friends who see you in a different way. All the games they play has taken your kindness away. But you are so beautiful, and He loves it when you smile. Let's bow our heads together, asking for His love. If we call His name, if we call His name, He will hear us. He will hear us from the mountains, He will hear us from the waters, He will hear us from the valleys, He will hear us when we pray, He will hear us when we're crying, He will heal us from this pain, He will take it all away and make us brand new again. If we call His name, if we call His name, He will hear us. I don't know what they're saying, but He hears every word. Will He ask me to stand beside Him? I know He has forgiven, so let Him touch you now. Let Him into your life, there you will stand beside Him. You will feel His love. If we call His name, if we call His name, He will hear us.
Aloha, honeys. Boy, do I have a treat for you today. Welcome to Airielle's World. And here in Airielle's World, I have a really, really special lady with me. My teacher! Yay! A great teacher here of ours on the islands. And since I am not really capable of saying Auntie's whole name by myself, I'm going to let her do it. So, Auntie, go for it.
Aloha uhane. Yes, my name is Mahealani Henry. That's the Lokahi part.
I can get the Mahealani part out.
Yeah. So this is the Lokahi part of the name. Mahealani means the moon. It's a phase of the moon, so it means the bright or the fullness of the moon. You know? And in our Hawaiian way, it also means one who gathers knowledge. One who gathers knowledge, who spends that time between the phases of the moon, gathering up knowledge, and then when it's so bright and full, and then we return the knowledge to the world. Mahealani.
That's so beautiful.
Thank
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, this name was, well, I have a little advantage. I have a little background. And this name was given to Mahealani at her birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, she was declared to be a teacher that was going to be coming to us. So could you talk to us a little bit about how this happened to you, how you came to be in this place?
Well, the story.
The story.
The story.
The story.
The mo'olelo, as we Hawaiians call it, the mo'olelo, the story. For me, and this is a story that was related back to me from my mother, in that she was told by my grandfather that I would be the wahine. This child that was to be born was to be this wahine, and this Haku. Haku means like the center of knowledge, Mahealani. You know? So my mother at that time sort of caught between two or more cultures, shall we say, between the Hawaiian and the Western or the European beliefs and values, right? Wasn't too sure how to take that. But being that it was coming from a kupuna, Hawaiian, yeah, Hawaiian kupuna, you never argue with the kupunas, the elders. Yeah? So being as that was the story that was related to her about my birth, my mother thought, okay, this is pono. This is excellent. This is fine. Because she had no other way to know, you know. She didn't know whether I was going to be a wahine, a child, a girl baby, or a kani.
But the kahunas did.
Oh, yeah. But the kupuna knew, as they do know anyway, you know. It isn't anything new, they just know, that kind of thing. And it's not just in Hawaii. It's not in Hawaii, but it's all over with a lot of the people from the ancient cultures and who still carry on many of the beliefs of the ancestors, etc. It's not just Hawaii, you know? So in being related, in having that story told to her, that my mother decided, okay, so what shall I do with this child when this child is born? And my grandfather said, this child will be very ni'ele. Ni'ele. My mother goes, oh, how ni'ele? Ni'ele meaning one who searches and seeks and leaves no pohaku, no rock unturned. Okay? So my mother went,
oh dear,
oh dear, oh dear, you know.
I have to go through this, huh?
Well, yeah. And my grandfather said, "Ui, a ole, mana'o. Do not worry about this child. Support malama this child. Because in her seeking, this is part of who she is. This is her kiakahi. Kiakahi meaning her purpose, yeah? To just nurture that.
Malama means nurture.
Yep.
I'm getting these.
And so from that point on, my grandfather, as was the way of the Hawaiian kupuna, they hanai you. It was always thought that children were birthed by the makua. Okay, that generation makua means those who are in their childbearing years. Okay? They are to birth the child, but the child is to be raised by the kupuna. Where all the values are given, where all that patience, that nurturing comes from the elders, yeah? Because the makua, and even in today's world, right, those of childbearing ages are usually busy building careers. So the keiki, the child, many times is sort of left in today's world to the TV sets, you know, the Nintendo games and what have you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. But had they the grandparents around, then the nurturing would continue as it does in the Hawaiian families and as it would anywhere else. Okay? So that's what happened to me.
So you were basically raised by your
My brother and I were, yes, greatly influenced by my grandfather. My mother made sure that we were there spending a lot of this time between the infancy, time of birth, to 3 years old. Okay. And lo and behold, I read somewhere a report just recently that is the time of seeding the child. Yeah, that influential time is from 0 to 5 years old.
Yes.
So right around there. Voila! The Hawaiians knew about that.
They did.
Way back then, too, you know? So now it's written, you know. And I say, oh, okay. Well, they've caught up.
Well,
Yay.
finally they're remembering again.
That's exactly it.
That's it. It's all about remembering. I think we've gotten so far away from what we already know.
Yeah.
And as we remember, we realize that these ways are right. And I think, too, that the grandparents, you know, they've moved beyond their hearts are more open spiritually. They don't have to
Absolutely.
deal with the everyday
That
existence.
every
So they have
day,
more that they can give to the children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important.
Yeah. So the influences, a lot of it was passed through my grandfather. And interestingly enough, it was passed through myself and my brother. You have to understand that my brother actually was the one that I had thought, assumed, Kuhi assumed, that he would be the one to do whatever it is that we were supposed to do, and I would strictly be the alakai, the helper. Well, it didn't turn out that way. My brother walked the rainbow, passed to spirit, joined the ancestors when he turned 22.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
He was very young.
Very young, yeah. And I was very angry at the time.
I can
that
imagine.
he did that. Yeah, very angry.
How could he leave you like
How
that?
could he leave and, you know, expect me to accomplish the kiakahi,
That's right.
the purpose, all by myself?
You didn't move any resistance, did you?
Only about 40 years worth. 40 years of resistance. Absolutely. And then finally being called, and by that I mean with Hawaiians, those that understood that they were always still connected to the ancestors to the kupunas, like myself, and there are many others of us, we know that there is no separation. You know, that when you walk the rainbow or change address, that's what I like to call it. Change address.
I love changing address.
Yeah.
My mother changed address this year.
Did she?
And yes, she did. And it was wonderful for me because of my own spiritual background, how I could handle it. And also I used the change of address.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And I told her, which she thought was really a lot of fun. And it's
Because in truth, that's all you're doing. You know, the journey continues. Yeah, there is no separation. You're always in the oneness. There is no such thing as, oh my goodness, the life ends and then something else begins here. There's no end. You know, the journey is one. It's all in the oneness.
So is this part of the traditional teachings, Auntie?
For the Ho'oponopono, yes. The one that I am now, this is my kiakahi, to bring forward. The teachings was released from the kapu about 5 years ago. Okay. And what teachings are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the teachings and the values of the Hawaiian spiritualness, which I really have to say is also that universal spiritualness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But being as we are here in Hawaii and being as the human requires that we have some roots, some physicalness to attach to, then we'll say it's Hawaiian. Just as long as you know and I know, you know. It's universal.
Spirit.
Yeah, spirit, uhane.
Uhane.
Okay, it's uhane. But knowing this, that the journey, it's all one, you know, from a past life to a present life to what. When people say that, I think to myself, oh my goodness, So they've ended something here and then they're going here when actually it's all in one. That's what the true meaning also of aloha is. The aloha to understand, aloha really means that we are always connected. We're always connected to the ancestors, yeah? We're always connected to each other. You share my airspace. I share your ha, you know?
I'm so glad.
The energies.
That's
We're
nice to
always
know that.
connected.
I didn't realize that.
Very.
And that's part of my name. Aloha.
Yes.
Aloha mahi alo.
Yes, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes
So
it
that
is.
oneness of connection.
It's always here. And so even when the elders, you know, when they were physically here, my mother, she just walked the rainbow last October, about 4 days after my birthday. All right?
That isn't that interesting? My mother left the morning after my birthday.
Really?
Yes, I think it's part of that
It's a cycle.
birth and
It is.
death
It's a
cycle
cycle.
of life
Yeah,
in their
it is.
timing.
It is, in the timing.
Yeah.
You know, some people might have thought that, oh my goodness, just 4 days after your birthday, oh Mahealani, I bet you can't celebrate your birthday anymore. I'm going, oh absolutely, and now even more so because my mom doesn't have to fly from one of the other islands or anything. She's right here with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She no longer has to drag around a body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's totally in spirit. She changed address. That's all she did. Just changed address, changed form.
Yeah, I think this is really an important one for people to hear and, and to understand because the fear of death is so prevalent in our society. And if people could only understand that
it doesn't
there's nothing
end.
to be afraid of. It's
yeah.
just a continuation on another level.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it was interesting because about a month ago I was talking to one of our older kupunas, and you know, I hadn't seen her for maybe about 9 months or so, and then I see her again, you know, and we greet each other, and she goes, "Hui, no look that way at me," you know, and I said, "How am I looking, Auntie?" And she said, "Oh, you have that look," you know, and I go, "Okay." Kalamai, what look is that? Yeaha, yeaha maka. Ole, you know, I didn't know. And she said, it's that questioning look that's saying, oh, Auntie, you're A++ years old and you still here? And I went, woo, do they read your mind? Do they get right into it? You know?
They do,
And she said, yes. And so she said, so I'm going to tell you right now why. And I said, why, Auntie? And she goes, because they never punched my ticket yet. You know that airplane ticket? They never give me that ticket yet, so that I can fly away to Uhane. Oh, Uhane.
Oh,
Yeah. She said, I'm waiting
so
for my
cute.
ticket to be punched.
Oh,
But that's their attitude. This is how they look at the change in address.
Change
You
in
know?
address, yes.
It's just, oh yeah, I'm still waiting for my ticket. So that I can continue my journey. And this was my mother's. This was my mother's attitude. This was my mother's pu'uvai that she left us. Her heart space, her emotions, and her mana'o, her thoughts to us within her last 7 days of this transition. She invited everybody in the halau and anybody who cared to be a part of her transition as she was changing address.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is really wonderful.
That's the aloha, you know. It's just that beautiful aloha that they pass on to you, you know. So, did she leave me an excellent memory just before my birthday? Absolutely. In fact, this year I celebrated my birthday again, you know, and I had a candle for her and a candle for me, and I said, all right, Mom, now that you're honey, you can blow them all out. She did.
And this big wind came, I
She
bet.
did. It was so great. I mean, just this, you know, it was just great. And this is the communication that we have. This is about ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono, the teachings of ho'oponopono means making right, more right. Okay?
I love that.
Making right, more right.
I
knowing
love
you're
that.
already in Pono. Knowing you're already in right place, right time, right being. You know? And then all we need to do is just simply reconnect to that. Yeah.
I came upon this magnificent lady because my dear friend Lavinda said that she was going to have ho'oponopono classes at her home. And did I want to come? And immediately, everything in me said, yes, I have to be there.
Yes.
So this is how this all occurred, is that Auntie has been teaching ho'oponopono and teaching these teachings on the mainland as well, all over the islands.
Well, we're going to be going to the mainland. I did it with my in my own ohana with my daughter and them, and her wedding party. It was so great because they were going to do this big, huge wedding. Yeah.
Well, you know, for me, I had always heard that ho'oponopono was making what was wrong right. And so when I came into your class and you said this, everything in me just went, yes!
You could resonate with it and did resonate with it.
Absolutely. And I love what you explained to us about there was no wrong. So could you maybe tell our audience a little bit about that part?
Yeah. Well, the first thing to understand is that you are spirit, uhane. Spirit first, foremost, forever and always, you know, and that you're already in the greatness. You're already part of all of this universe, all of this that is great, and everything truly is anyway. You know, it already is. And all we need to do is simply get in connection with that thought, that attitude, by bringing the emotions up to feeling the oneness, this greatness that we already are, you know. And to simplify that even more is just to simply say, okay, what do you do in the morning? Well, if in the morning you get up and you look in the mirror and you go, oh God, I feel like so crummy, and oh, my hair, oh geez, the hairline's receding, I'm getting bald here, oh, you know. Well, guess what you've done? You've really set up your day in a not pono. In other words, you're not in the right place. You've taken yourself out of the canoe, so to speak.
In the what is wrong.
Exactly, yeah. So you're setting up your day to have more pilikia. We call it pilikia, you know, the traumas, the dramas, the all the things that could go negative.
Drama? We don't know anything about that. Does anybody here
Let me
live
check
in
my
trauma
list.
drama?
Let me check my list.
Oh, I see a few hands. Well, I guess some people do go into trauma drama. Not me? No, of course I do.
Used to do that.
Used to go into trauma drama, but now I know about pilikia. And I don't want to go to the Hell Hotel anymore.
Oh yeah, the Lua'ahi Hokele, the Hell Hotel. Well,
it's a place I used to go to a lot. Now I cancel my reservations as soon as possible.
Every now and then, do you get the feeling sometimes every now and then, you know? I know I do every now and then. I'll peek around the corner and I'll check out the lobby of the Hell Hotel and see if it's changed any, you know?
Yeah.
But at least I'm not checking in, you know? I'm not stuck in one of their Hell Hotel suites.
One of the suites?
That I created. No longer need to go there. Ho'oponopono in a very simplified way just simply helps us to reconnect to who we are. Who we are. Okay? Who we are is, the true identity of self, the spirit, uhane, you know. From one journey and that overflowed into another journey, one past life into the next past life, into the next past life. Okay, fine. The body form changes, you know, but uhane, spirit, it's always uhane mauloa, always forever.
It is. Like when I first looked at you and I knew your spirit so well. And that spirit stays with your laughing eyes.
Well, let me tell you a little insight about this spirit one.
Okay.
Is that this is my 37th life, and I've chosen to make it the last. As far as the physical, physical being goes. But what I'm going to do, I feel, is be like my mom and be that spirit that is always sitting on your right shoulder. Always there. Always.
Hey, Auntie.
Always there. Yeah. And the whole team of them.
String
the whole team of them. Yeah. You know, some people call them, the guardian angels or the guides, you know, or God. That's right. It all is one. Anyway.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting that back in our history here in Hawaii, when the influences, you know, from the Western world and the Europeans came in, they saw a land full of heathens. They didn't understand us. They didn't know that there was spirit here. I don't know how they didn't know that.
Well, now they're all trying to get it. Now they're going, oh, those people have spirit. That's what we want. Can we suck some out? You know,
To be
know
a
what
part
I'm
of
saying.
the Aina, to be part of the land, to be in that oneness. Yeah,
Yes.
with all things.
That-
And I've often been told that, well, one of the things that separates us from that oneness is that we begin to identify with our physicalness more, yeah? And I've often said, and you'll probably remember this, that by the third class, right, I said, be sure to journal what you were learning here, because it's very important, because that's your how-to manual.
Exactly.
That's
That
your
how-to manual.
Right. And that's part of the teachings, is that you write these things down, because why? In this modern day and age, that's what you're accustomed to. The Mana'o is accustomed to writing things down. So go ahead and write them down. Write down the experiences so that you can bring in the moment. That is what's so important, is to become mindfully in the moment.
Mindfully in the moment in Pono,
Yes,
too,
absolutely.
right? You know, I love my Pono cards.
Ah, yes. As a matter of fact, we should have had some here, and then
have
we could
some here.
put it out here and just show it to everybody. In fact, but someone's running. Another spirit is running
for
to get
Pono
them.
cards.
Oh, great. Well, in the Pono cards, last night we were going through that for the Nakeki class.
Yes.
The Nakeki class is a real fun class.
The best class.
I love the class. That's the 7th class. And we were going to bring the inner child out, and realizing that there are more than one child. There's 2, there's 3, but mainly we concentrated on the 2 children. And what was interesting about that is that to embrace the child. So as we were talking about the children, we had the red cards out, and these are the Pono cards that comes in that we give out in the classes. There are 40 cards here. The words are all in Hawaiian, you know, and the translation. Here's the lokahi, the unity, the joining of the Hawaiian to the English, and we have the English translations on the back of it. Oh, I noticed you really underlined some things.
These are actually Lily's cards.
Lily's cards. Okay. So we were mentioning last night that we had 10. Maybe I can move this here and just put them down here. That we had 10 of these cards, yeah. Remember the Pilikia? We mentioned that when you're in trauma and drama. That's
for
the
sure.
Pilikia
The
card.
Pilikia.
All the
We
problems.
try to stay away from Pilikia these days. It sneaks up on you sometimes, though.
Yeah, that's when we're not, say, mindful in the moment.
Right.
In truth, I believe that the thoughts of the Pilikia, you know, that we will side squirt it and go in and out of, you know, the thoughts of Pilikia. And that's okay, okay? That's okay, because, hey, that's part of this life. That's where
right.
we're at. You
We're
know?
here.
That's it. You know, and it's not a super perfect world at many times until we finally get into the reconnection that all is in right place, right time, right being. Once we've attached our emotions to that thought, that concept, and guess what? We may skirt around the Pilikia, but we'll never buy into it. There's the difference, yeah?
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
the difference, yeah.
I think that it also has to do with consciousness, because sometimes I see for myself, sometimes it's like I kind of choose to go into Pilikia. It's like, okay, I see I'm going there, you know, but there's this, and I'll go, okay, it's okay. And then just pull out of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Shift.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
shift.
You know, it's
Shift
like,
the gears, get out of
all
there.
right, we don't have to be here. We don't have to check into the Hell Hotel.
Exactly.
We can see it and then choose
Choose.
to be in Pono. Which is wonderful thing about these cards for me is that no matter what card I pull, whether it's a red card or a blue card or what we consider to be that card or oh boy, that card, but they always take me back to Pono.
Yeah. See, there you go. That's what
Which
it is.
is what
That's
this
it's
teaching is basically about.
And to not condemn yourself, you know, not
Right.
get into that guilt trip about, oh my God, I'm in Pilikia again. Oh, geez, all hell is going to come to us now, and the sky's going to fall, and they're going to bury me, and all my friends will know that I'm really a negative person, etc., etc., etc. You know, yeah. And if those thoughts don't work to really get us into Pilikia, well, then we'll just reinvent more new thoughts on Pilikia.
We'll find a way, right?
But you can always choose. That's true. Choose how you intend to spend your moment.
Exactly.
But Pilikia is always a part of life. I mean, it's it, you know. And then we have the Kolohe card. This is the one that addresses the children. This is the one that addresses the children. The Kolohe means one who is a cute and rascally sort, you know.
I bet you were Kolohe.
All the way, my dear. All the way, yes. I was very Kolohe. Until I finally had to be able to merge that aspect of self, you know, and not want to bury that spirit, that spirited child that's within all of us, you know, but be able to align with that, you know.
And choose how she's going to react to.
Oh, absolutely. And that she's not going to rule the totality of me, right?
Right.
Yeah. No. That there is a balance here. And that the child within me, that daring do child, that spirited child, you know, I want to be able to malama that, recognize that aspect, malama that aspect of the child, and have it be a part of me. Together, not something that'll blurp up when I least expect it, you know, not something that places me, say, out of Pono even when I least expect it, you know what I mean? So
She can do that, huh?
Oh yeah, used to. I love that term, used to.
She used to do that.
Used to do that.
The other term that I really love that I find works really well for me is when I say something and then I catch myself. I say, what I meant to say was...
See? And that's it. Being mindfully aware of your moment.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That, you know, if there was one word to really explain, I think, Ho'oponopono and the teachings of it, that which I refer to as prior to 1299. Okay, I'm not talking about the other forms of Ho'oponopono that has been made more into our Western psychology kind of thing, or even those that has been immersed or diluted, if you will, with some of the Christianity sort of thing. Okay, no, I'm not talking about those types of values and teachings. I'm talking about the teachings prior to 1299. And I always try to make that very clear in the classes.
You do, you know, and that was one things that I was talking about earlier when we were talking about Ho'oponopono and making what was wrong right. And when you explained that there really was no word for wrong for the Hawaiians before that time period. Which
Absolutely.
This was really mind-blowing to me. I loved it. You know, it was a big part of how we can use that thinking.
Yeah.
Because if there was no word for wrong, if it wasn't considered wrong, what was it you said? It was a lack of experience?
Yes, lack of knowledge and lack of experience. That's all it was.
Isn't that a great way to think about things? That there's no wrong.
No.
There's only a lack of knowledge or a lack of experience.
Exactly. And that really takes the charge out of, you know, the Pilikia thoughts.
It does.
It does, yeah.
It really does. Because if you take yourself back there and you go, but there's really, how could I go there if there's really no, if it's not there?
Yeah. There's no platform for that. Yeah.
That's a good word. I like that.
There isn't. You know, so you're just out in the ethereal somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
there's no platform for that.
Yes.
It's often also that in the teachings we say that most of these cards, the red cards, that describe aspects of self that we thought were so important that put us into pilikia because of habitual thinking patterns, right? The thinking patterns that begin from when we get up in the morning, we start off our day, If you start off your day thinking, oh my God, I've got a full day, I got to get to work, I got to do this, if you're already setting up the stage for that trauma, drama, pilikia stuff, guess what? You're going to kanawai it. The law of manifestation, kanawai mo'aka aka, the thoughts that you think when it's attached to the emotions or vice versa, that is what you're going to reap. That is what's going to be in your day, in your moment, okay? Law of manifestation, kanawai mo'aka aka, all right? So we say change the pattern.
Change the pattern.
Change the pattern, You don't want to be in pilikia, then change the pattern, okay? So see your day in the morning, and we say the first value practice is aloha uhare. We get up in the morning, we look at our maka, go eye to eye with self and spirit. Right there in the mirror,
Try it.
Yeah. Maka, go eye to eye with self in spirit at that mirror. When you first get up in the morning, and say aloha uhane. And when you do that, that is already setting yourself up to recognizing your true spirit, your true identity, which is uhane, spirit, And when you do that, hard girlfriend to get in pilikia. And in fact, I've had people tell me, you can't do it. Can't go there. Can't go there.
You can't.
Yep.
No, it's a whole different place.
And I've also talked to people who say, well, Auntie, though, I've done aloha uhane, and, I've done the chant, kale aloha, and I'm still in that pilikia. I don't know how to, it's not working for me, So I do a math thing with them. That came up last night in one of the classes. We had someone that, had this experience going on, and it couldn't seem to get through that pilikia, okay?
Yeah, we know about that.
Oh, yeah, we know about that one. So I wrote it on the board. I said, okay, let's look at it this way. When did that event of pilikia start for you? And she said, well, it began Saturday evening. I said, okay, fine. And gang, and I addressed the class, and I said, now what's this evening? It's Monday, okay? So I put that on the board. So here we have Saturday written on the board on one side, and we have Monday, yeah? That's where we are. That's where we were last night on Monday. So under Saturday, I said, okay, how many times did you do aloha uhane? How many times did you do this practice? And she says, oh, about, twice, okay. I said, and how many times did you do the affirmations, the ihana pa'apono, or one of the cards that really helps you, the chant? Mm-hmm. Oh, I did the chant. Oh, yeah. She remembers she did the chant a couple of times. Okay, so we put the numbers down. 2 times at least on the aloha uhane, okay, and a couple of times on the chant, and that pretty much was it, okay? So I said, aha. And how many times would you say that you allowed yourself to be skirting around this pilikia, where the emotions, the pu'uvai was really getting in there and feeling not good about the event? How many times did that blurp up? And she goes, oh, I'm now think, was it 1, 2? She came down to, it was 24 times. 24 times. We put that on the board, 24 times. That was it. You could see that how can you expect to change a habit, right, towards more that uhane in the spirit of things,
Right.
If you're spending more time, 24 times in Pilikia, I don't think so. And only maybe 4 times in the practice.
Doesn't fit, does it?
Doesn't fit. Well, she got it. As well as the rest of us, you know?
Well, that sounds like a great experience. I'm sorry I missed it.
Oh, that's
But I
okay. You
got
just
it
got
here.
it now. That's it. Just got it now. Right place, right
I
time,
love
right
that about
bean.
you.
Right place, right time,
She
right
always
bean.
reminds me of that every time I think that I should have done something or been somewhere. Or
That's why there's more and more people who are part of this ohana who understand it, that you can call up and go, hey, you know what? Tell me again now, what was it that Auntie mentioned about such and such and such? It's so great.
it is great, and I'm so thrilled that a lot of my friends have been taking your class.
Yep.
You know, because I was in one of the first groups, but
Yeah,
now I can share it along, and everybody's answering their phone. Aloha, uhane.
Well, that's the
And
goal.
we're all working on staying out of Pilikia and helping each other do that. And sometimes you really need somebody to help
Absolutely.
you do that.
Absolutely. You need to know that, you know, someone's just a phone call away or, you know, just a thought away even.
But the other thing we can remember is the kapunas are always there.
Always.
Always there. You don't have to make a phone call.
No.
You can do phone call to God. You know, I really wanted to share this with you and with our audience because when you first had said to us to call upon the kapunas, and I call upon Spirit all the time, and my angels and my guides, and I do that all the time. And you said, call upon the kapunas now. Okay, so the next morning I went down to the ocean, and I stood in the bottom, at the edge of the ocean, and I called them. And I had energy come up my feet, came up through my feet, which were in the water. My feet were in the water. Up through my feet, filled my body. So I was totally mindful. Of course, I call on the kapunas a lot now.
And you just put that energy out there, you know, and it's a sincere energy. And you are just, you know, I've often said, the kapunas have the bigger picture. Okay? So, you know, we might see this part of the puzzle, right? And might even really worry about that and get into this control mode of trying to make that piece fit here, somewhere, wherever, you know, and in doing so, get so involved in that antsiness and that, you know, that feeling that doesn't leave us feeling really good. You know?
Yeah, we know that one.
Yeah. So rather than do that, I don't even do that anymore. I always say, well, hey, you know what? We're on this journey together. You're never alone. Okay? You're never alone. So therefore, you know, if I need to be at such and such time, or if this piece of the puzzle needs to be here, or that needs to be there, you know, in truth, I don't even need to mess with any of that. All I need to do is go, ihana pa'apono, yeah?
Ihana pa'apono.
Ihana pa'apono, yeah? Ihana pa'apono is part of our way of, you know, that affirmation that really gets us into our spirit, our true identity, ourself, and gets us into that pono place of, hey, you know what? Everything is pono. It all is, you know? In fact, I was mentioning last night to the students also that it takes more energy. In truth, it takes more energy, more mana'o, more pu'uvai, in other words, more thoughts, more emotionalism, to be out of pono. To be in the negative.
It does, but you know,
But
I
it doesn't,
think some people, and I can understand this, have some problems with it because when we look at things that don't appear to be pono, and when we look at a child being abused, let's use that one, that's one that touches everybody. So we look at a child being abused, and it's hard to look at that and say this is pono.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so maybe you'd address that a little bit.
Okay, well, I've often said this, is that if you have, okay, if you were there and you know that this child is being abused, that the situation is occurring and whatnot, you know, yes, understand that it's Pono, okay, it is Pono in the sense that we all write our kiakahis before we come in this physical realm. Okay, in other words, we've already written our purposes before we come here. So we're only now reacting to that purpose that we've already written. Okay, that's one.
To what we want to learn or get.
To what our getting is in this life, you know. Okay, so we've got that part, all right. The other part is that if you are this person that know of this abuse, it doesn't mean that you're going to go off in your, you know, meditative state or something and go, well, all is Pono, all is Pono, all is Pono, and not do anything.
And not really feel it underneath.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think
definitely.
a lot of people do that. They'll say,
Definitely.
all is Pono, but inside
Right.
they know it's not.
No.
You know, it's like there's something that says, I should.
Exactly. And you need to go with that. You need to respect that. No, yeah, that gut feeling. You need to malama the emotions also, you know. And you need to then step in and do something. Well, what is to do something? Well, I was talking to one of our local people one time, and I go, yeah, brah, so if somebody going to beat up somebody else, what you going to do? And you're right there, right? And he goes, well, first I'm going to size up the situation. If the guy more big than me, I'm going to get my brother to beat him up. What's the analogy of that? Well, the analogy is this, you know. If you can stop the abuse, you know, there, because it's happening right now, okay, fine. But if you can't, for God's sakes, 911, you know, I mean, there is some action that you can take, you know. So take some, you know.
Right.
Especially when it involves a child. Especially, the innocence, you know, the party. So, no, I don't believe in taking this to, you know, this all things are in right place, right time, right being, to where it covers everything. No, simply because of what else is going on with other spirits, too, that don't even realize that they are spirits. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So you need to be, you know, if it's possible.
Sometimes the Pono is taking some action.
Oh, absolutely.
To change things.
Absolutely. In fact,
to make them more better.
I'm glad you brought that up, because even Pulikia, and actions of Pulikia, our own selves, is sometimes very necessary, because many of us are pa'akiki, stubborn. Okay?
No.
Yeah. Pa'akiki. Stubborn? Yeah. So sometimes it takes, you know, quite a few times of getting into that pulikia before the pulikia can be used as an incentive. To say, enough already. Been there, done that. Mahalo pao. Enough already. Okay? So there you go. What's happening? Wow, even that pulikia is a Pono.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's it's as simple as that, you know. I've had people ask me about, oh, Auntie, well, what are you doing about, you know, Bosnia? What are you doing about China? What are you doing? You know, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
What am I doing, you know?
Go change it, Auntie.
Yeah, right. Whip it up, you know. Kapunas, you know.
Now's the time.
Okay, you know. And so in a serious way to answer that, I said, well, first of all, I said, I won't buy into the illusion of it. Okay? In other words, I'm not going to continuously feed that energy, you know, that all that wrong is happening. I'm not going to be a part of that kind of energy. So instead, when I see it in the newspaper, immediately, you know, my mana'o or my pu'uvai may want to, you know, really give it the charge of an attitude of negativity. And I won't go there. I'll just immediately go into a Kale Aloha chant, or I'll just say, Aloha Uhane, Aloha Uhane. And then just really get into that and go, for whatever the entities, the Uhane, the spirit needs to be in their kiakahi over there then I support that. I bless it. I'm not in there physically to do anything about it,
Right.
but I can sure do something spiritually with the energy, Prayers work.
Prayers.
I mean, Kool-Aid's, chants, they work. What is the intention? Well, the intention is when I read the newspaper and I see, I see the not so, as far as from this level of being, what looks negative. Okay?
Right.
But I'm
It's
not
hard
going to feed it.
It's hard not to see it
Absolutely.
in today's world.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Why? Well, because we are all spirits. We all have our own kiakahi. We've all written it. Okay? We've all done it. We're just now, the world is a stage here now. So we're just fulfilling whatever it is that the spirit needed.
So, in the old traditions, if you will, is this part of the teaching? Is that everybody wrote their script, so to speak?
Absolutely, because it's all part of that oneness, yeah? And it's all part of the belief that there is no end. There really is no beginning. We are just all part of a continuous flow.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's always that thought that we are a part of the bigger ohana. And that ohana is all those who have changed address. Right? And that we can tap into their mana'o, their pu'uvai, their spirit, to merge here and to help us promote more of that spirituality. That's what it is. That's what it is. And it comes through many teachings, not just the Hawaiian.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I've done a lot of spiritual studying, and it wasn't that it was different so much as for me, taking this class with you and your other teachers, it hooked me, and I love Hawaii so much and have for so many years, but it hooked me in more here.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
It gave me more of a hook in these islands with the...
Or the understanding of the gifts, maybe.
Maybe the understanding of the gifts, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But it definitely did. Definitely did. And I think that when people have this opportunity, I really encourage you, if you get the opportunity to study Ho'oponopono with these beautiful ladies, please do, because it will open your heart and it will open your mind and help you get out of the Hell Hotel.
And it does it greatly and gently.
It does.
Greatly and gently.
Greatly and gently. You know, I just wanted to, you had said to us, and I thought this was so cool, because we're talking about people changing address here, and you had told us when your grandfather changed address and you ran off to the mainland to try to...
Oh, that.
Oh, yeah, that. Well, you know, that little resistance you were in. And your grandfather showed up for you there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was so taken with anger, you know, that he would show up in California. I mean, I've always felt that, you know, my nakapunas, you know, the Hawaiian ones, they belong in Hawaii. They never go anywhere else. Oh, my God, you know. And then to have him show up my doorstep in California, that was so mind-boggling. And I thought, you know, never once did I not recognize him. I mean, or our connection together. Never once did I say, oh my goodness, I must be losing my mind, you know, or any of this, you know. As a matter of fact, it might have been a good idea if I had lost my mind a lot earlier. Yeah, so we could do this. Yeah, you know. But at any rate, my auntie, who was also living on the mainland at that time, And she's from the ancient beliefs herself, and you know her language, in fact, is the Kupuna language. You know, not the more modern Hawaiian language
how
today.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's very, very Kupuna. Yeah, and she herself is a Kupuna in her 80s. Anyway, it just so happened, yeah, coincidence, right? It just so happened that she was coming to my house that day. And when I saw my grandfather out there, I knew already. I knew already that the purpose was I needed to return to Hawaii, that it was time now, that the kapu was going to be lifted. I didn't know exactly when, but that the calling was now to be back here. Okay, and I really refused that. I enjoyed my life in California, you know, and thought, well, hey, you know, I'm this modern Hawaiian, so go find somebody else. You know, my goodness, we have plenty in our ohana. Yes, I'm busy, you know. But in our Kumo'o family, there are so many of us. I figured, you know, they could go, you know, go check out another one. Well, that wasn't to be. She walks up, and I see her. I had just left my grandfather there in the yard by the driveway, you know, and I said, no, I'm not going. Turned my back, went back into the house, and as I was there, I turned around and my auntie came up to the sidewalk, and then she's talking to him. And she had never met him, okay, in his physical life. She comes up to the porch, she relates the message, you know, and she says, how dare you? Ole, ole, and of course she's saying this all in Hawaiian at me, you know. You need to go home. It's time. It's time. Yeah.
I'm so glad you did.
Well, I am now.
I'm glad you listened.
And now. Yeah. No, it's a wonderful experiences.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that you've been here with us today, and that our audience has had the opportunity to experience you even just a little bit. You've only gotten a tiny bit of this woman's joy and liveliness and vivaciousness and heart. The aloha that you give forth is so wonderful.
And if they want to know more about it, we are on the website now.
Oh, good.
So that's good. The internet classes, the registrations are open, and it's alohapono.com.
I love it.
Alohapono.com.
Alohapono.com.
That's the website.
Great. And is there a telephone number
Yep.
that people should call for?
Yep. 808 area code
808.
965-0441.
Okay. And
Also email. We're into cybernetics
email too.
now. Yeah, my grandfather loves it.
Okay.
And our email is alapono@aloha.net.
Okay, got all that?
Yep.
All right.
Got it.
And we will put that up for you. So what I would love to do, if you would be agreeable to that, Auntie, is to close this show with your chant.
Oh, the Kale Aloha Ina Kupuna. Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Kale Aloha Ina Kupuna. Kale Aloha. Kale Aloha Ina Kupuna. Kale Aloha. Kale Aloha Ina Kupuna. Noho au. Noho au I kamanava. Noho au. Noho au I kamanava. Amena manava. Amena manava I kiko upono. Mena manava. Amena manava I kiko upono. Mahalo. Mahalo nui no po mai ka inea. Mahalo. Mahalo nui no po mai ka inea. Kale aloha. Kale aloha ina kupuna. Lava. Kale aloha ina kupuna. Hey, inoa no na kupuna. Mahalo, mahalo.
Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
Hi.
Wow. And mahalo to you for joining us.
I Hi, Kaisian. How about you, Nay?
Aloha!
Wherever you are.
Uhane.
Uhane. Aloha. Uhane. Pow. Pow.